You have to roll your R's.
Sauron.
Mordor.
Elrond.
Galadriel.
Valinor. Morgoth. Sauron.
Galadriel.
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 Numenor. Galadriel. Finarfin. Numenor. Elros. Morgoth. Sauron.
Galadriel. Vi Galadriel.
Morgoth.
Armenelos.
Sauron. Numenor. Galadriel. Finarfin.
Numenor.
Palantir. Miriel. Galadriel.
Elrond.
Morgoth. Moriondor. Sauron.
Galadriel.
Numenor.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
This is going to be my recap of Rings of Power Season 2. Recapping every episode from episode 1 to episode 8, the finale. We begin with Sauron not looking like Sauron as he tries to overthrow Ada as leader of the Orcs. I don't know if he's trying to overthrow him or he's trying to just vie an election as leader of the Orcs. They don't want him as leader, so they stab him to death. He explodes with white light. He sips down all the way down into black goo. He becomes Venom from Spider-Man. He consumes a rat, and then he goes down a mountain, and then he latches onto a wheel, goes up a cart, he consumes a lady, and then he turns into Halbrand.
What the fuck?
It's very bizarre. Halbrand walks alone like the Green Day song.
I walk a lonely road.
He meets an old man with a sigil that will later be used to fool people into making people think that he is the king of the Southlands, because that sigil is used for kings and their descendants. They go on a ship. The ship gets attacked by sea monsters. You will see the ship going down. That's when Halbrand takes the sigil, and then they cut to episode 2 of season 1, and that's how you get to see Halbrand and Galadriel meeting. Speaking of Galadriel, we cut to Galadriel as he's chasing Elrond for the rings that were made in season 1. They reach High King Gil-galad, and he's like, "Our tree is dying, bro. We need these rings ASAP." And Elrond is like, "Nah, we don't need these rings. These rings are evil, bro." So he does a Black Panther, and just like Black Panther, he jumps over the cliff and into the water. The show cuts back to Halbrand in the present. He is a prisoner of Ada and the Orcs in the Southlands, now known as Mordor. Yeah, you're going to hear a lot of rolling of R's because that's how the show does it. Halbrand tells Ada Galadriel is working with a sorcerer who will create a weapon that will control Orcs. Then after that, we cut to Nori and the stranger. Nori is like, "I'm hungry, make this tree give me food." And the old man is like, "Hey, okay." And then he makes the tree ejaculate a bunch of insects. And then while they're at a campfire, the old man notices something in the distance, and then he says, "We are being followed." I'm assuming that's meant to be like a reference to the Fellowship of the Ring, because roughly the same thing happens. They light a fire and then they notice that they are being followed. Anyway, Elrond, after his nice swim, he goes to see some old dude who is the wisest and fairest of the elves, and Gil-galad starts to send a letter to Celebrimbor to tell him that Halbrand is Sauron. Galadriel knows where Elrond is, because she knows that, if he wants to destroy the rings, he's going to go to someone who's very old, someone that even Gil-galad, King Gil-galad, is going to respect. So they go there. Back in the desert, the stranger and what's her face trip Poppy with a string. What the hell is this trap that you put for her? Anyway, she has come with a map and some song that's going to help them decode the map. Halbrand pledges allegiance to Ada and they let him go. And then Gil-galad sings some farewell song because they know they are fucked, because they know their tree is dying. The old man who was supposed to get rid of the rings, he comes back with the rings. They wear them. The tree lights up like Christmas. I don't even know why it lights up. Yes, I know you're going to say, it's because they have mithril and mithril repairs leaves, but why are they lighting up? Why did they have to be worn? I have so many questions. Anyway, in the previous season, a piece of mithril just had to be near a leaf for it to start healing, but here they have to wear the ring and blah blah blah. Anyway, whatever. The episode ends with Halbrand reaching Eregion. That's how episode 1 ends. Episode 2, we have Disa and Durin simping for each other. Disa is like, "Oh, you're my prince, baby. Oh, I'd never trade that for anything." There's an earthquake, and then back to Lindon. Galadriel discusses with Gil-galad how the rings have kind of given her foresight, and she feels that Sauron's plan is in motion. But Gil-galad is like, nah. And then he says, Eregion is safe, Halbrand is a loser with no army. I mean, what can he do, right? Meanwhile, back in Eregion, Celebrimbo is like, nah, that dude can't get in. And then the lady he had sent is like, but Halbrand has a boo-boo on his back. We can't just leave him like that. We cut back to the desert, and we notice two desert traders who were following Nori, and we meet the non-binaries who are led by Saruman. That dude is definitely Saruman. Let's not fight about that. And then Eminem makes a cameo. Eminem makes a cameo, and Saruman asks, why is not Gandalf still walking around free? And the desert rider dude with the mask goes full Thanos, and he says, fine, I'll do it myself. I'll bring him to you. Nori and Poppy, I don't even know where these people are going. They are following some stars or some shit. Stalker desert riders find the old man, not Gandalf. I don't know how they do it. I don't know, by tracking them or some shit. And these guys, Poppy and company, hide until the riders leave. So in Khazad-dûm, the earthquake made the lights go out. Disa comes to the king so that she can sing to the mountain, but it fails to bring the lights back. Galadriel told Gil-galad that she needs someone to help her face Sauron. So she goes to Elrond, and Elrond is like, y'all still have the rings? Man, fuck off. Poppy and company find a well with a bell. That's so stupid. I don't understand why you would find a well with a bell. I mean, why would a well have a bell? But it's just the plot way of trying to get these two dum-dums to call those desert traders so that the desert traders can know where these guys are. Anyway, while they're fetching water, it rains and the riders come. Then Not Gandalf starts a hurricane with his rod, and the rod disintegrates. Then he can't control the hurricane, so the Harfolds get blown away. And in Eregion, Halbrand reveals himself to Celebrimbo as Anatar. Yeah, as they say it in the show.
Anatar.
Episode 3 begins with Isildur's horse finding him. How is this dude alive? I don't even know. Isildur fights some spiders in the cave. I'm assuming those spiders are supposed to be the ancestor of Shelob or some shit, because this show sucks. Back in Numenor, the king died, so the blind chick is about to be made queen. Her cousin Pharazôn and some idiots openly discuss treason during supper. Why the fuck are they discussing treason while in a place where many people can hear them? These people are idiots. Meanwhile, back in Mordor, some orc daddy doesn't want to go to war because he just wants to stay at home and take care of his baby and his wifey. So I shall call that orc daddy. If you hear me talking about orc daddy, I'm referring to that guy. A giant troll comes through because Adar had sent him a messenger. And then Durin shows up at Eregion due to Celebrimbo's invite. He makes a deal with Celebrimbo, which is Mithril from the mountain for rings of power. Anatar boy says Gil-galad doesn't want more rings and dwarves shouldn't get more rings. Celebrimbo writes a letter lying that the forge is closing so that Gil-galad can just stay away from his activities. In this scene, I noticed Celebrimbo is dressed like a grandma, so I shall now refer to him as Grandma Brimbo. And he becomes this greedy, ambitious dude, which seems a bit out of character. In fact, in this entire show, I always thought Celebrimbo was like this softy, but he kind of becomes like this ambitious, greedy bastard. Anyway, Isildur wanders the forest. He finds a girl who stabs him by accident, thinking that he's an orc. They ride together. They get ambushed by Adar's human followers. Robin from the Hood, aka Negrolas, aka Black Legolas. Robin from the Hood shows up to save the day. He was in the woods picking up wood for Bronwyn's pyre. Now, Bronwyn is the single mom that Negrolas was in love with in season 1. So she died because, well, the actor who was playing Bronwyn left this shitty show. So they needed a reason for why she died. They say that, she was stabbed by an arrow and the poison took time to take effect. It's so stupid because in season 1 she was fine. Anyway, Durin the son goes back to talk to the king about the rings. He apologizes for some argument that had made them go all silent treatment on each other, as that argument from season 1. The girl that Isildur met turns out to be a follower of Adar. Theo and Isildur go to save his horse, and the camp of wild men that has the horse is ambushed. You don't see what ambushes them. During the coronation of the blind chick queen, this daughter of Elendil exposes that the blind queen has this palantir that she's been taking counsel from. Palantir is an elf stone, and in Numenor they hate anything to do with the elves. So during this argument, an eagle randomly shows up. It's so random. It had been foreshadowed, but it's so random. And then Farazon walks up to it, and everyone is like, Farazon, Farazon, Farazon. And the episode ends with the dwarves back at Eregion with the mithril 2 forgerings. That's how episode 3 ends. I'm going to be interjecting a bit of my thoughts versus just telling you what happens in case you don't want to watch this shit show. Episode 4. Galadriel and Elrond form a hunting party. They find a damaged bridge, so they devise an alternative route. The old man, not Gandalf, meets John the Baptist. I mean Tom Bombadil. And Poppy and Nori meet Rufio from Peter Pan. He takes them to a Stoor village. Stoors are like Harfoots, sort of. They meet Whoopi Goldberg over there, who is quite annoying. The alternate route that Galadriel and company take lead them into some things called bear whites or barrel whites or something. I was not watching this with subtitles, so I don't know what the fuck Galadriel called them. Galadriel says that Sauron has awakened them. And then they cut to Isildur. This girl is another follower. Robin from the Hood and Isildur track Theo because Theo had been taken when that camp of wild men was ambushed by something they don't show you. They end up in a swamp where they fight this worm-looking thing and they kill it through plot convenience. Then they take a bit of meat from the worm monster. While cooking it, Ents appear. Now Ents are these talking trees. You see them in Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers. The Ents attack because they see Robin from the Hood. He has a sword, but Black Legolas is like, chill babe, I'm your friend. And then it's revealed that Theo was taken by the Ents. They return Theo and everything is fine. Meanwhile, wherever Galadriel and company are, the orcs attack. They shoot an arrow at one of the elves. Galadriel uses her ring to heal him.
What the fuck?
I'm like, hey yo, what the fuck? I didn't know that Galadriel's ring can do that. She gives Elrond the ring as protection. I'm assuming she gives the ring away to protect him or to protect the ring. And then Galbos fights and the orcs capture her. Yeah. Episode 5. During the king wears his ring and uses it to know where to mine, he decides to show the others how it's done. He also does a Thanos where he's like, I'll do it myself. They finally get to see the sun in Khazad-dûm, and then in Eregion, they make the Doors of Durin as a show of friendship between the dwarves and the elves. Anatar tries to convince Celebrimbo to make the 9 rings for men, but Celebrimbo is like, nah. So Anatar is like, fine, I'll do it myself. Cut to Numenor. The Queen Blind Lady asks Elendil what he saw in the Palantir. And hey, me, I'm just doing the way the show does it.
To roll your R's.
Sauron.
Mordor.
Elrond.
The Queen Blind Lady asks Elendil, what did you see in the Palantir? Their visions did not match because Queen Blind Lady, she typically sees Numenor getting destroyed. Elendil sees a vision of him riding away from Numenor. The Sea Guard men are getting stripped of their rank because they are loyal to Queen Blind Lady, and then Elendil also gets stripped of his rank. They cut back to Khazad-dûm. Disa is buying some crystal ball and
Whoopsie.
drops it, and then it rolls into a cave where she sings, and then the Balrog is heard. King Durin wants the dwarves to dig deeper for gold, but Durin's son is like, that's a bad idea, bro. Back in Eregion, one of the elves working for Celebrimbo wears a ring, and she sees Sauron's true form for a bit. I think that's what happened, because there she describes it, it's like she saw Sauron's real form. And then Kevin, this dickhead, goes to a shrine to close it. He's being a dickhead, so a fight happens, and this dude over here, he's called Valandil. He breaks Kevin's hand, and then Kevin stabs him in the back like the little bitch he is. And then back in Eregion, Sauron tells Granny Brimbo that lying to the king is what poisoned the rings, and so it's either he confesses or they just keep making the rings. And because Grandma Brimbo doesn't want to confess that he lied to the king, that he's closing the forge, they keep making the rings. And Anatar's manipulation here is pretty cool. Sauron has been a pretty cool character in my opinion. Actually, he's the only good thing about this show. Elrond reaches Gil-galad and tells him that the orcs have reached Eregion, and then Galadriel meets Adar in Mordor. Yeah, that's episode 5. Episode 6, Robin from the Hood is in the woods. He meets orcs, he fights them, and from one of them he gets a map. Granny Brimbo tells Anatar that the dwarves are late with the mithril delivery, so he's like, go deal with that. When Sauron goes outside, he's shown an elf scout who was sent to see why people have been entering Eregion less and less and less. Typically, that section of Eregion, there are many people, but they've become less. So they sent a scout ahead to see why there's such a slowdown of traffic. The scout is dead, and he has a message that's marked on him. Sauron says that the message marked on him, it translates to "where is he?" Which means that Adar is looking for Sauron. And then in Mordor, Adar tells Galadriel that he has figured out that Halbrand and Sauron are the same person. Back in Numenor, Elendil stands trial for starting the uprising in the shrine. He is told to accept Farazon as ruler, but he says, nah. So back in the Stour village, Poppy gets a new boyfriend, and Not Gandalf goes looking for a new staff with John the Baptist. I mean Tom Bombadil. And then Anatar goes to Khazad-dûm for mithril. The king tells him to fuck off, and then during the son tells his dad to take off the ring, he refuses, and then the Durin king becomes so angry, telekinetically pushes his son away, and that's when the son knows, oh, his dad is getting obsessed with the ring. Elendil, who refused to kneel to Farazon, is going to be thrown into the sea to fight a monster. And then Disa gets angry that the dwarves are going to mine. So she goes there and she sings. Her voice scares some bats away. And these bats are used to chase the dwarves away.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Anyway, in Numenor, Blind Chick says that because Elendil is being charged for treason because Elendil is loyal to her, that instead of making Elendil fight the monster, she should be taken. So they take her, take her underwater, and the monster sees that it's a black chick, and the monster is like, hey, where are the white women at?
Hey, where are the white women at?
And yeah, he like burps or something. She gets shot out of the water, and everyone is like, the Vala has deemed her to be a good person, so yay for her. Adar tells Galadriel that he is ready to attack Eregion to get Sauron. There's an orc horn, and the Eregion city alarm is sounded. And then Grandma Brimbo goes to check what's happening outside, but Sauron makes him see that the city is peaceful. It's part of like his illusion to keep Grandma Brimbo compliant. So Sauron shows Grandma Brimbo that he has some new mithril, and then the episode ends with the city getting attacked. That's how episode 6 ends. Episode 7, Grandma Brimbo is about to finish making the 9 rings. The orcs keep attacking Eregion. They use these things, I don't know what they are, trebuchets, I'm assuming, to hit the rocks, the mountain rocks, to dam the river. They are dropping the rocks so they can form like a bridge dam thing. In Khazad-dûm, the dwarves realize that the king is greedy now. He wants to dig all the way down for more gold. They side with Prince Durin. Elrond comes to Khazad-dûm to ask for help. He wants dwarves to help fight the orcs. The battle at Eregion is just like the one in the Two Towers movie. You see archers up there. This orc weapon is down here, just like in the Two Towers movie. And then Granny Brimbo notices this mouse moving in a repeat deja vu type matrix cycle. Kind of like in the Matrix where you used to see this cat repeating itself, walking by. That's how he knows, oh, I'm in an illusion, I'm in a matrix, man. So the thing that I wonder is that if Sauron can make illusions, why would he have some rat moving in a cycle if you can control what people can see? Like, you can't tell us that he's in control of what you're seeing and hearing, and then also tell us that he's also not in control of what he's seeing and hearing. But anyway, the illusion breaks and Granny Brimbo sees what's really happening. The mithril, quote unquote, that Sauron gave Granny Brimbo is actually his blood. So Granny Brimbo has been making the rings with Sauron's blood. Celebrimbo goes outside to try and convince the others that Halbrand is Sauron. Then this happens.
Let's get you back where you belong.
Get your hands off me!
Yeah, that chick just dies like that. And then the elves show up, they charge, but stop because Galadriel is prisoner. Negotiations begin. Why are the orcs negotiating with this dude? Is because Adar wants Nenya. Nenya is the ring of Galadriel. So that's why Galadriel is not dead. Elrond kisses Galadriel, which is ew, because Galadriel is going to be his future mother-in-law when, Elrond passes Galadriel a lockpick. The dam fight continues. It's dumb because if you can bring down mountain rocks, why can't you just use the same technique to break the walls of the city? This whole fight is happening simply because they're trying to breach the walls of the city. It's so stupid. Adar finds Galadriel has escaped. Black Legolas kills some orcs to help Galadriel escape. Celebrimbo is chained because Sauron wants him to finish making the rings. He cuts his thumb to be able to remove this handcuff. And then Galadriel shows up to help Grandma Brimbo, who people think he's gone mad and senile. He gives her the 9 rings. Elrond shows up with his diverse team to defend the wall. And then this Asian elf gets shot like Boromir. They're trying to remind you of the way Boromir was shot many times. It's so stupid. While she's full of arrows, she shoots her own flaming arrow and it lands in oil or something. There's an explosion. The orcs send in the trolls. Not trolls, just one troll. Celebrimbo tries to arrest Sauron, but Sauron uses telekinesis to make the elves kill each other. Then he slices the throat of one of them. The troll goes on a rampage and Elrond and Black Elf try to stop him. Morning reaches, Elrond is like, oh, the dwarves are coming. But no, the dwarves are not coming because they are dealing with the Balrog situation in Khazad-dûm. So the show forgets that orcs hate sunlight, but whatever. You see orcs fighting in the sun. Orcs charge and Gil-galad and company fight them. Adar stabs Black Legolas guy. The orcs reach the wall and destroy it. Adar fights Elrond and gets Nenya. The episode ends with orc metal music playing, which was pretty weird. And then for the last episode, episode 8, King Durin has become consumed by the ring. He's trying to go deeper into the mountain for more mithril or gold or whatever. The Balrog appears and tries to use a whip to pull in the king. Then this Balrog can fly, by the way. The king takes off his ring and goes to fight the Balrog, and an explosion happens. He calls Prince Durin king because he knows he ain't coming back from that fight. We cut to not Gandalf looking for his staff, and Saruman appears. He's with the Desert Riders, who have been stalking Nori and Poppy. They have the Harfoots at knife point. They want what they were promised by Saruman. Wizard fight starts. The Desert Riders run because one of them gets rammed into the wall and then he dies immediately. Not Gandalf says that because Saruman has killed this dude, that he can't join him. So Saruman starts destroying the village with falling rocks. Where the Stoors live, he begins destroying it, and then not Gandalf stops the rocks from falling. In Numenor, some propaganda starts that the Queen Blind Lady beat the Sea Beast because she's in collabo with Sauron, aka Halbrand. So everyone loyal to the Queen Blind Lady begins being arrested. Elendil goes to the Queen, and she gives him Narsil, the sword that you see in Fellowship of the Ring. And then the show forgets that the lady is blind and she's like, over there. No, she says, over there you will see the sword.
It is called Narsil.
Yeah, she like sort of points or with her chin, she sort of like signals to where the sword is standing. I mean, how do you know where it's standing if you can't see? Anyway, it's fine. Meanwhile, Eregion is under siege by the orcs. They surround Galadriel and she's ready to offer up the 9 rings for women and children to go free. Halbrand is putting arrows in Granny Brimbo so that he can tell him where the rings are. Sauron even spears him. And then Celebrimbo says,
Lord of the Rings.
yeah, he said the thing, and then he dies. Isildur makes kissy time with that wild girl he met, because he needs a girlfriend to go back with to Numenor. Kevin shows up in the Southlands and he meets Isildur. He refuses to give the girl passage on the ship. Galadriel is taken to Adar. Wearing the ring has removed his wrinkles and made him lighter. I didn't know that the ring could give you like a makeover like that. Anyway, he gives the ring back to Galadriel because she wants Galadriel to help kill Sauron. The Orc Daddy guy comes back. He is brought back on a stretcher because he had walked in on Sauron, and it's implied that when he walked in on Sauron, Sauron hurt him. But Psyche, he's fine. He just wanted to kill Adar. The orcs kill Adar, and they crown Sauron as the leader. And then Sauron tells them to burn Eregion, and then Sauron and Galadriel fight. Sauron makes himself look hot so that Galadriel can stop to simp and look at him. And then Sauron even turns into Galadriel. They fight a bit more. And then a sexy boy over here uses the Morgoth crown to stab Galadriel. He takes the rings and the dwarves finally show up to join the fight at Eregion. Black Legolas shows back in the mix like nothing even happened to him. It's like the writers don't even know what happened in the previous episode. And then Galadriel falls off a cliff intentionally to escape Sexy Boy. In his anger, Sexy Boy stabs Orc Daddy over here. Gil-galad tries to use his ring to heal Galadriel, but it's not working, so Elrond finally decides to use Nenya to heal Galadriel. And then Isildur sets sail for home without his new girlfriend, and Elendil's vision comes true of him riding his horse leaving Numenor. The Sturs leave their destroyed home. They call the stranger Grand Elf. Boy, this show. And then that's how the old hobo-looking man finally becomes Gandalf.
Goodbye, Grand Elf.
And then Nori and the old hobo man part ways. Old hobo man finds his staff, or his staff finds him, or whatever the fuck. He finally says his name is Gandalf.
Gandalf.
And everyone is so shocked. Nobody saw that coming, right, guys? And then the episode ends with Galadriel, Gil-galad, Robin from the Hood, and Mr. Necessary kissing Galadriel, all doing this Avengers pose, and that is season 2 of Rings of Power. To be honest, I watched the whole thing at like times 1.5 speed. When you watch it at that fast speed, it's actually quite watchable. In my opinion, I give the whole season like a 3 out of 10. My original rating had been -5 out of 10, but after watching it at times 1.5 speed and ignoring that this is obviously not the real Lord of the Rings, it's just fan fiction, I give it a 3 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to smash like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.